Colorado's latest book, Denver Landmarks and Historic Districts, will be out next week. Well, Tom is here to talk about this and his 49th book, can you believe that, with former student, author, and Denver Landmark Preservation Commissioner, Amy ZIMMER. Welcome back. Good to see both of you.
Great to be here, Denise.
So what's so special about your latest book, Dr. Colorado?
Denver's really lucky, really extraordinary. We probably lead the country in the number of historic districts and individual landmarks. So amid all these erupting high-rises, you have some guarantee that historic neighborhoods won't go to high-rises or billboards or 7-Elevens.
Yeah, that's so true. And let me brag on you a little bit, because I understand this is your second edition, so it must be pretty popular.
Right, right. And we were lucky that Governor Hickenlooper wrote a foreword to this one. He likes to put brew pubs into old buildings and restore them that way.
Yes. Dr. Colorado, tell me a little bit about the bronze Denver landmark plaque. What's so special and unique?
That is magical, what you see
Why
on
is
the
it
screen
magical?
there. It wards off the devil.
What?
The diabolical developers that would tear down a historic landmark and put a parking lot in its place.
Devil, stay away. Amy, how does a building earn a landmark plaque?
So it's something that gets nominated by the community. So if the community feels like a building is historic and significant and you want to make sure it's preserved, the community can come together and nominate it for either an individual landmark, like the building that you see right here, the Bosler Yankee House, an individual landmark in North Denver. And then also you can have a historic district. So we have about 50 historic districts around Denver that preserve the neighborhood character.
Oh, so can any house or building get a landmark plaque?
It has to be at least 30 years old.
Okay.
And it has to show that it has either architectural, historical, and or geographical significance. And what they mean by geographical means it's a building that everybody recognizes, like, say, the DNF Tower.
How many buildings here locally have that plaque?
So we have about 335 buildings that are individually designated, and then there's several thousand more that fall into protections with a historic district.
That's wonderful. It's like an extra piece of jewelry for the building, isn't it? Yes. A little bling added to it outside. How did you first become interested in historic buildings?
Well, I've always been interested in historic buildings for my whole life, really. You know, from the time I was very young, I grew up in the suburbs and would love to come downtown and see the historic buildings. And there's just something about the architecture of early Denver that we don't see anymore. That it's just it's different. Things were built with more architectural significance and more care went into them, and they weren't kind of slapped up as they are now. And it's just, it was different, and there were so many amazing architectural styles.
Like the one we were just looking at, the Molly Brown House.
Like the Molly Brown House that we, yes.
That's so beautiful. And Dr. Colorado, tell me a little bit about the Little Synagogue that became Denver's first designated landmark.
Right,
was that
this
back
is
in
landmark number one?
1968, right?
Right.
Okay.
And it's a 1867 building on the Arary campus saved there. Originally it was an Episcopal church, then the Episcopalians moved to a cathedral in Capitol Hill, St. John's, and Russian Jews move in and convert it to a synagogue. Oh. So it has Gothic architecture with a Gothic arch and the Star of David and Hebrew inscriptions on it. So it commemorates two different ethnic groups.
And this is a painting, but we have a real picture of it too, so let's take a look at that. That's the Molly Brown House, right?
The painting is by Herndon Davis.
Oh, okay. We'll get that. There it is.
There it is, all restored today and recycled as a student art gallery.
What an interesting background.
Look at the building and student art.
Amy, I have to brag on you. You were a student of Dr. Colorado. Boy, you must do something right in that class.
I learned a lot from Amy.
She's so accomplished. You have 4 books. Your latest book is a bestseller, right?
So yeah, just made the local bestseller list this week, so
congratulations
excited about that.
Tell me a little bit about Lost Denver.
Yeah, so this Lost Denver is a book about things, mostly buildings, but also some traditions and infrastructure and things like that have been lost in Denver. So particularly during the 1960s and 70s, we lost a lot of historic buildings in Denver, and so this book kind of celebrates those and keeps them in memory with stories about the places that are lost and also some of the things that are lost. I talk about the Rocky Mountain News, I talk about things like the Festival of Mountain and Plains, so it's traditions that were in Denver, the streetcars.
Bestseller for a reason, absolutely. Well, thank you for coming on the show. Congratulations again, and I'm glad that your shoulder's doing well. You had a shoulder replacement. Yeah, glad you're doing well. Dr. Colorado will be discussing his his new book in Denver's Neoclassical Landmarks on Thursday, June 9th, in the church at 1477 Columbine Street at 6 p.m. For reservations and info, go to this website. It's classicist-rmc.org. You can also, if you can't make it on June 9th, please save the date Wednesday, July 6th, when Tom and co-author Nick Wharton will do a slideshow on their landmarks. Book and also sign your copy at the Tattered Cover Bookstore on Colfax at 7 p.m.